Ein wunderschönes Willkommen zu unserem Krishna-Tempel hier in Zürich. Dear guests, dear devotees, a very, very big welcome to our Sunday program. Someone here for the first time? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. We met outside. Welcome again to our temple. Our Sunday program is our weekly program for every guest who come. We will have, our program looks as follows. We will now have a talk on Krishna consciousness wisdom. At 5 o'clock there will be a vegetarian feast. At 6:15 a guided mantra meditation. At 7 o'clock a temple ceremony. And from 8 onwards we will have more singing of mantras. This is our Sunday program. And for today we are here very happy to welcome His Grace Damodar Svarup Prabhu. Please welcome him with a big Hari Bol. He's living in Basel with his good wife Tulasi Rasa Madachi, and they're originally from Latvia, and he's the head of our education department in this temple. So all the courses you find for this temple, he and his team are offering them. And he came into Krishna consciousness in 2007, and especially in UK. And also he has helped or established a platform, College of Vedic Studies in London. It's a platform where you can go and which offer courses on Krishna consciousness. And also Prabhu, I think 2021 something, you established CVS also in Switzerland. And we will also later hear some more courses. So this is Prabhu's background, and he will speak today on something on karma. Before we start, braucht jemand eine deutsche Übersetzung? Deutsche Übersetzung? Okay. And then I request everyone, please come a little closer. We are today a smaller circle, so request everyone, please move forward. So don't be shy. Wish you a happy Sunday. Hare Krishna.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Gaura Premanande, Hari Bol. So, Hare Krishna everyone, welcome to this Sunday program. Thank you for coming in this September Sunday. Krishna appreciates it, that you take time to come and be with him, be with his devotees. And today I wanted to speak a little bit about karma. It's a big topic for Krishna consciousness. One of the main topics, one of the 5 main topics of the Bhagavad Gita. And I guess it speaks for itself that it can, the good understanding of karma can help us in many ways, including our present and future, fixing some understandings on how to act, how to, properly fix certain behaviors in our lives, etc. So I'll speak from the Bhagavad Gita. We'll be read the Bhagavad Gita 4:17. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I will read the verse and translation and purport. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam, bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha, akarmanas cha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gatihi. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. If one is serious about liberation from material bondage, one has to understand the distinctions between action, inaction, and unauthorized actions. One has to apply oneself to such an analysis of action, reaction, and perverted actions, because it is a very difficult subject matter. To understand Krishna consciousness and action according to its modes, one has to learn one's relationship with the Supreme. And that means one who has learned perfectly knows that every living entity is an eternal servitor of the Lord, and that consequently one has to act in Krishna consciousness. The entire Bhagavad Gita is directed towards this conclusion. Any other conclusions against this consciousness and its attendant actions are vikarmas, or prohibited actions. To understand all this, one has to associate with authorities in Krishna consciousness and learn the secret from them. This is as good as learning from the Lord directly. Otherwise, even the most intelligent persons will be bewildered. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Svapadantikam Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langrete Grim Yat Kripata Mahamande Shri Guru Dinataranam. So, before we start speaking deeper or more elaborately on karma, maybe it's good to give a definition first of what it is, so that we're on the same page. So, as you already know, karma from Sanskrit means action. And that means that behind action there must be something else. We cannot just dedicate so much time just to have this notion action and that's it. There must be something more than this. And this more, why this more is important is that because there is a reaction behind every action. So in order to be successful, we have to understand how to perform a proper action. So there is a science behind karma. So science behind karma means science of action, how to act, how to behave, with which motive, etc. And then what to expect behind those actions. So, And apparently, of course, we have even in our modern life, like scientific world, there is this notion of action and reaction. You must know that this Newton's law of action, that every action has equal reaction and opposite reaction. So this is not something new, even for modern science, that there is some fruits of any labor that we do. So if you plant some seeds, there will be some plant that will grow, and depending on the seed, that will define the plant, right? So that's quite logical. So then we go into maybe a little bit step forward to understand what is considered an action, what can be different types of action. By the Vedas say that there are three types of actions. So actions in the physical realm, when we perform some event, some activity. There's action in words, and then there's action in the mind when we think about something. This is all considered to be actions. And apparently, consequently, on all these three levels and all these three types of actions, there will be reactions. So you probably have maybe experienced or yourself or saw maybe someone else in your someone close to you, that when we think bad of someone, we may have this may affect our mood sometimes. We may not feel good because of it, even though we cannot do anything about it, but somehow we feel, or we think bad of something or someone, and this can give us some stress, even some body starts to behave, the organs start to behave differently, and then it may even give some health issues. So this is just an example of how our mind have also reactions for what it thinks. And if we go even further, we can ask then, what are the reactions? Where do they get recorded? Because when we speak about reactions, someone must understand, or someone must record them to understand that what reactions should be follow-ups from these actions. So where are these actions recorded? How does someone know what will be the reaction from it? And to answer this question, we need to first understand who is recording this. Because if karma is a law, then there must be a lawmaker, someone who is interested to have this law, to implement this law, right? So the Vedas say that the law of karma is a law of Krishna, essentially the law of God. And so he's the one who is interested in this, and we will speak further about why he's interested in having this law. But for now, let's just stay on this level. So we understand that Krishna is interested in having this. And how is it getting recorded? How is it monitored? So it is described, as most of you probably know, that there is a super soul within our hearts who is the observer of everything that we do, everything that happens in our lives, everything that we have done in the past through all our lifetimes. So he is always with us. He always sees what we do. He always sees what we think. He always knows, even better than we, what we want. And so he's the one who observes everything. And where is this getting recorded? All these actions are recorded in our chitta. Chitta is a notion for our material consciousness, our subtle body. So our subtle body consists of three elements, subtle material elements, which is mind, intelligence, and false ego. And so all of these three in connection, they are called chitta. So our actions are recorded in our chitta. And this is why it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that whichever state of consciousness you achieve in the end of this lifetime, at the time of death, this will define your next body. So the state of consciousness is that chitta. This is the state of mind that we have. And we develop that chitta during our lifetime. And the chitta that we have is the reaction of our past activities. So this is all recorded there. And sometimes we may even see that when we speak to a person, what level of chitta or what kind of chitta consciousness that person has, you know. You may already see maybe he speaks like a demigod, he has talents like a demigod, or, you know, he's so selfless, and then you think it gives an approximate idea where this person will go in the end of this lifetime. And it can be otherwise as well. If you see that person behaves like non-different than animals so much, like a, I don't know, like a dog or a hog or whatever, then you may think, okay, this is the chitta consciousness, the level of chitta that the person acquired, and who knows what future will be with this kind of consciousness for that person. So chitta defines our next body, and this is a perfect mechanism which calculates everything. So Krishna has got this mechanism, the universal mechanism, which observes everything, records everything, and even if we are unaware, it's still there. So this answers the questions. You know, sometimes people may wonder why there are children that are born invalids or crippled or something like that, you know. And this may seem unfair. Why certain people have advantages in their life and certain people have disadvantages. They start from zero. We might think like that if we don't know this notion of karma. So this explains actually that, yeah, everything is actually calculated perfectly by Paramatma, by Krishna's mechanisms. And the fact that we don't see any cameras that are observing us doesn't mean that they don't exist, at least in the way that we expect it to be. Yes, so then we can go even step forward and try to understand what are the different forms of reactions that are there. And there are two types of reactions. If we speak from the general level, there are external reactions and there are internal reactions. So external reactions is quite easy. You do something to one person, you bite his ear, and then you should expect that someone will bite your ear in exchange. It could be that person, could be another person. So, yeah, so that's a basic level of understanding of external reactions. But there are also internal reactions. This means that desires which take place in our mind right now and that are taking place in our heart, they appear there because we did something in the past. So because we did something, we got a reaction for it. And this not only affected us externally, but also affected us internally. So this gave us some kind of a mindset, or this developed some kind of a habit. An example of this could be when you see a person smoking, for example, right? So the external reaction would be that he would get some health implications, right? There would be some reactions on the level of health after some time. But what happens internally is that a person develops a habit. So once he's done something, then there's an impression in his mind, and this impression gives him kind of a ground to act the same or to desire the same thing, to repeat it again and again. So that habit is an internal reaction, which when a person gets it. It may seem very subtle, but the fact that you have some habit because of this activity, because you smoke a cigarette, you develop that habit. This is not a surprise to anyone. That habit is being developed. So how is it developed? So there must be some internal things going on. So that is that internal reactions which people get. So our desires, they don't come from nowhere. And it's important to understand this, because sometimes people don't understand, where do I get a certain desire? Where does it come from? We may think it just appeared from somewhere randomly, and therefore maybe they may even think that it's my desire, which if it is my desire, then I have to for sure fulfill it because it is a desire, you know. So this kind of understanding could be there, that if it appeared, I must fulfill it. And we don't even think why it appeared there, how it appeared there. We don't go so deep sometimes. So it's not that our character just came randomly to us. So we developed our character, we developed our mindsets through certain past deeds. And this is a result of some of our past repetitive actions, which is important to understand, that led to rooting of certain desires. So they may have happened in the past, like in the previous lifetimes as well. But because of that, because of we have been raised in certain ways, we have seen certain movies, we have seen certain, our parents have had certain characters. We have spoken with certain people in our childhood. We have been raised in a certain country. So this all can give us the understanding that, to behave like I think is a common sense, because I have had this experience in my life that, these are the people who surrounded me, these are the cartoons I was watching, the movies I was watching, and this is common sense. But actually, it is not like that. What is common sense to us may be completely nonsense to another person. Why? Because he was abroad in a completely different environment with a completely different things that were surrounding that person. So these things, they all affect our intellect, they all affect our determination, and they affect our character in the end. So actions bring not only external but also internal reactions. And it is important to understand that whether unconsciously or consciously, this cultivation of these actions will define our destiny, define our character, and eventually our destiny, and even our future lifetimes. So we have to be careful there. If we don't know what we're cultivating, like in this cartoon or the book Alice in Wonderland, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there, right? So if you don't know what you're cultivating, you don't need to worry about anything. Then you just go somewhere, and then don't be worried that you had a certain reaction. And our mind is also, I like this analogy, is like a river. It flows to wherever the banks show it to flow, right? So each river has two banks, right? And wherever these banks lead this river, it will flow. So our mind is also like that. Whichever banks we have established, either consciously or unconsciously, to it, in our childhood, in our past lives, therefore it starts thinking in the certain way. It starts reacting in a certain way towards certain situations. Yeah? So that means that we can change how we construct those banks, and therefore we can change how our mind thinks, how our mind reacts, how our mind behaves. So this is possible. And what are the kind of constructing factors to this? There are two factors affecting the power of the desires that we develop. One is the strength of the impressions that we get. Right? If, especially in the childhood, you know that children didn't yet develop a strong intellect yet. Therefore, they cannot discriminate between what to accept and what not accept. They just absorb everything, you know, directly, like sponges. Therefore, everything is so exciting to them. Everything is so vivid in their lives, because they don't discriminate yet. They just directly put everything in their hearts. So therefore, for parents, it's very important to give their children good impressions, good upbringing, so that they raise a good child. So yeah, the power of the impressions that we get, it really can change our desires. Depending on the power, this will define the speed of how we will desire certain things. So you may know, like, even different past, not past life, but out-of-body experiences. You know, sometimes you can hear people had out-of-body experiences. This is a very powerful impression that a person can get. Therefore, such experiences, they change the whole life of a person sometimes. Why? Because this was so powerful, so vivid, so real. Because I saw my body from outside, and this completely changed my perspective. Then I'm not the body, then who am I now? You know? So you start thinking, this is reality, this is not in the book anymore. Some people may have seen some, I don't know, some beings from different kinds of planets, even like lower entities, kind of, and then they were really frightened, and they would think, okay, this impression that I got, it gives me a really good understanding that I should be careful in what I do. And so this is one factor which changes our desires, the strength of impression. So that's why when we read, when we do our sadhana, our spiritual, our reading of spiritual literature, it is important that we try to make it, we try to come to a level of emotion when we read this. Because if we just read very superficially, then nothing really emotionally gets inside of us. And that's why once Prabhupada said to one of his disciples who was doing the dramas, Prabhupada really loved dramas, to see drama plays of different scriptures, or like Ramayana or Mahabharata or things like that. So that disciple was really good in how she portrayed the situation. And he said that actually, you know, dramas are even better than reading my books. You know, why? Because it gives an emotional impression to us. We can really absorb inside, you know, we can really feel what is happening in certain situation. So when we read, of course, we can also achieve that level. Maybe it's a little bit more difficult, but we should strive for that. We should really imagine, you know, what is going on in that scene, in that particular Leela of Krishna, you know, how he's holding this Govardhan hill, or how he's dancing on this snake, and so we should really get deeper to get those deeper impressions to be able to change our desires. And of course, any other types of devotional practice, not only reading, can come to that level. And then the second factor of changing our desires is repetition. How often do we repeat certain things, certain mindset, or how often do we hear something? How often do we do something? This is like the fundamentals of marketing. Sometimes they repeat the same thing over and over again over the TV or YouTube or whatever. You can hear the best a man can get. This slogan, very popular one. And when you hear this, the best a man can get, the best a man can get all the time, and then you see this object, you think there's no other chance that you can buy anything else than Gillette in the shop. So the repetition is very important. Every time we repeat something, this leaves a little bit of impression, and we're building up. This is the idea of sadhana, right? So we should be mindful of the fact that it's not only about external consequences. With each action, I'm also forming my next desires. And this knowledge actually can change our perspective on our desires a little bit. Why? Because we don't have to orient on our desires. They don't define us as human beings, right? These are just desires. They are just out there. And if we know that, the certain desire is there because of my certain past activities or certain past mindsets, it doesn't define me as a personality, this desire. So that's why sometimes we hear our spiritual leaders, spiritual masters, devotees, they say, you are not the body, but you are not also the subtle body. So you're not this body, okay, but there is also a subtle body, mind, intelligence, false ego, right? So you're not that either, because all the desires are there in the mind, right? And all the understanding of happiness, of what we think our happiness is, or where should we take this, what is the source of our happiness, is there in our intellect. So that also can change, because intelligence is a subtle body, subtle material body. So our current desires are simply a result of our past activities, and they are changeable. Yeah. Of course, it is easier said than done. Sometimes we may think, okay, I have this desire for a long time, and I have been around Krishna consciousness already since a while, but these desires don't go away. So yeah, it's easy to say, change the desire, and more difficult to do. That's why we come back to this previous point of the strength of impressions and repetition, right? Because what yogis can do, the elevated yogis, they can be observers to their mind. They can see just the mind is like like a swamp. Something is boiling there, sometimes something is smelling there, and they are just aloof. They see that, okay, this is my past reality. This is not me. So they can also not associate with it so much. So here's this notion of mindfulness, right? That we just observe what is happening in the mind, just like we observe the waves of the ocean. They come and then they go. They come and then they go. So the same with thoughts, the same with desires. We can try and observe. Yes, this desire is there. So what? Like Prabhupada said to his disciples when they were all brahmacharis sitting in a room, and one very beautiful Mataji came, and Prabhupada asked them, "Isn't she beautiful?" And the disciples, they were not sure what to answer. If they say yes, it would be a bit weird because they're brahmacharis. And Prabhupada said, "Yes, she is beautiful, isn't she?" So what should we do about it? Prabhupada asked. Right, nothing. Just do nothing about it. Just observe, just let it be there. Yes, she's beautiful. You don't have to do anything about it. Why do you think you have to do something about it? So mindfulness, yeah, that's what the yogis practice. Whatever is there, the river flows. Sometimes you can see a leaf, sometimes you see a log there. You don't pay attention to it. You just let it go, and then you just observe further. But yeah, despite that, it is not so easy sometimes. But the first step is that we become aware, right? Awareness of the mechanisms, how this happens. And if something goes wrong, why it goes wrong, and what can I do about it? Yes. Are there any questions so far? Everyone is so quiet. Is it interesting in general? Yeah. Is it useful? Yeah.
If you don't let it flow, if you catch it with your mind, with your feelings, with your thoughts, then you are involved.
Exactly.
If you let it flow, then you are not involved.
Yes.
It's not always easy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. We always want to be involved.
Yes.
So why is that? Why do we always want to be involved? Yeah. We're not the enjoyers, we're not the controllers,
Yes. You are not perfect.
Yeah, we're not perfect. Sometimes we want to understand, oh, what's going on there, what's going on here, just mind your business. Sometimes you don't have to bother about this. You think that the more you think about it, the more it will change. But actually, the more you think about it, the more you stressed you become, and then the whole this cycle happens in the mind, looping. So yeah, letting go is an art. Yeah, but letting go, you cannot just let go for nothing. You have to know what you're exchanging for. So therefore, you need to concentrate on something else. So you always need to think about Krishna. So my mind has digressed. Okay. So what should I do? First I realized, I'm digressed now. My meditation was on Krishna actually. I was sitting near the river, and now I'm starting being involved in something. But as soon as you pick this thing up, that, I'm digressed. So this builds your yogic muscles, so to speak. Because yoga means to what? To connect, right? So the more you reconnect, it's like building up muscles. The more you realize that I have disconnected from my meditation, and then you reconnect, the more you build up your muscles, the more easier it will be for you to come back next time for your meditation. So that's how it works. So it's important to realize that I have digressed from my meditation. So is it all karma, or some things are completely random? What do you think? Is it all that this world consists of just karma, or actions and reactions, or some things are actually random? Just bird flies here or something. Is it random, or is it something? There is some order behind it.
God is behind everything.
Yes, God is behind everything. Yes. Actually, yes. Yes, yes. But is there such a thing as a random thing? Would no. Yes. Krishna says even a blade of grass, right, moves by my order. So, so there's no such thing as random in this world. Everything is uh, happens according to some order. You know. Yes. Am I following? Yes. 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 If you are connected with Krishna, then yes. Why not? The question is whether we are connected with intuition, or it could be our mind. That is also a question sometimes. But yes, if you are following Krishna's will, if Krishna is telling you someone from the heart, then it's also not random. Krishna speaks it and then we follow, right? So nothing is random. Yes. And this understanding actually can give us a peace of mind. Why? Because then we would not think that there is injustice in this world, right? Because everything happens according to some order, some higher purpose, some higher order. So we wouldn't think, like, okay, I haven't deserved this. Sometimes we may feel like, okay, I haven't deserved this. Something unfair is happening, right? So yeah, this kind of understanding can bring us peace of mind to say that yes, whatever happens in my life actually happens for a person, for a reason, for a purpose, for a reason, and yeah, I just have to accept it, you know, and accept that this is Krishna's will, Krishna's law, that this is happening with me right now. But is accepting enough? Is only accepting enough? Um, yes. Yes, just yeah, do nothing, just accept it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I was more like speaking about the. Sometimes we get this mood of injustice, you know, that something unjust has happened, is happening to me. I don't deserve that. You know, this kind of feeling can put us in a not very secure state of mind. You know, we may start thinking, oh, you know, I haven't deserved that. Is there God? Does he watch what's happening, you know? Um, yeah, yeah, ignorance, yes. Ignorance of higher um, uh, things that are happening there, out there. We just don't know. We don't have this consciousness. Um, so, yeah, so whatever things are happening in our lives are there not only for us to accept, but also to learn from them, right? So karma has this educational purpose behind it. So God is not interested in us suffering, you know. If we have understood something, He's fine. He will not give us certain reaction, you know. But yeah, since karma is educational, it's nice to think about what can we learn from certain situation. Um, there's an example like when the child gets raised, the parents they punish a child. They may punish a child. They may praise the child. They may scold the child. They may tell him off, or they may even what's it, pamper him. You know. So there are different activities which parents do in relation to a child. But what is the purpose of these activities? They want to teach something to the child, right? So if they punish him, he may not understand what he has done yet, right? He might, just because he acts by his ignorance. But the parents, they do something about it, and the mechanism of karma is exactly like this. So that Krishna, with these laws, he tries to teach us something. And if we have this understanding, if we have this mindset that, okay, what can I learn from this particular situation? And moreover, the parents, they love the child, right? So it's not only that he wants to teach us, but he wants to teach something which will bring happiness eventually to the child, which will make him a good person and will ultimately be good for him. So this is the way how we also should see karma, that yes, it is loving hand of Krishna that tries to say something to us with this situation, with this particular moment in our lives, right? He loves us, just like a parent loves his child, and he's our ultimate parent, right? And some people don't accept this. Some people, they think, no, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this kind of behavior towards me. This is completely unjust. And they say, no, it is wrong. It is unfair. I don't like this. You know. So, yeah. Yeah. Mhm. No, no. Yeah. Yes. Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes. We should see that towards us, but when things are unjust happening towards others, we should, of course, do our best to be compassionate, because compassion is something that is outside karma. It acts on the level of mercy, right? So mercy is beyond any karma. So therefore, when you have the level of compassion, when you act from compassion, you act spiritually, actually. So, yes. 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 Yes, we should see it from the perspective of Krishna sometimes as well, right? So Krishna is merciful, Krishna is compassionate, Krishna is kind. So would he want us to scold ourselves to death? Or would He want us just to learn from the situation and to understand that He's loving and He's kind and He's always there with us, and that we can always come to Him, because this is also ignorance. If we put ourselves in this kind of loop that we are bad, we are the most fallen, we cannot do anything, we cannot achieve anything. This is ignorance, this is inertia. So this Krishna doesn't want this. This is what Arjuna experienced in Bhagavad Gita, right? He said, rise up, you're a warrior, fight. So solve it. But don't be so depressed about it. So we have a few minutes. Maybe someone has any questions, because I can speak like long about it, but someone has any questions? Yes? Yes, this is on my list to discuss. I don't know if we would be able to cover it, but yes, karma. So we have 3 types of karma, right? One is karma, which is good actions, good deeds. But what exactly are you interested in this akarma? Maybe is there anything in particular that you would like to know? Okay. So we have karma, akarma, and vikarma, right? So karma is good deeds that we do, and then we get good reactions, but they are temporary. The downside of that they are temporary and they will go. So therefore, we will have to find another deeds to keep us going in this world. And actually, if we speak from the level of liberation, if we want to achieve the level of liberation, then karma is also not so constructive, because if you're doing something good, you'll have to accept the reactions from it, right? So, and this is counterproductive towards the goal of liberation, because you will have to spend time and get another birth to get reactions for your good deeds. And vikarma also, of course, is bad actions that we perform some bad activities, and then we get bad reactions, then we suffer, and these penalties that we get, they're also temporary. This is a good news for those who are experiencing some bad karma. By the way, how do you know if you're experiencing good karma or bad karma right now in their life? Do you know? Do you feel? How you feel? Yeah. Is it any other thoughts? Is it your good period in life or bad period in life? How would you think that you can define this? Okay, it's hard to distinguish. Yes? Yes, free. This is a good word. So when you have good period in life, Krishna gives you more opportunities. But when you have a bad period in life, you get more limitations. So that's how you can understand that. Limitations. What are limitations? You can be limited by bad health. You can be limited by being fired from work. You cannot earn any money. You can be limited by different things. But when Krishna, by the law of karma, give you some opportunities, that means it's a good period coming, right? So, but yeah. How would you define whether this opportunity is good or bad? Yeah. Yeah. Is that your question? How do you define? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. there are certain feelings you get when you get those opportunities, and these feelings they can be like how you say can give you some approximate understanding whether this opportunity is good or not. So if some opportunity comes to you and you feel, yes, this is what I've been waiting for, let me get it, let me have it, I will buy a house, I will buy a car, your mind completely shoots off, and then you think, that's, way to go, I'm on the wave now, you're completely out of reach, out of touch with the reality, it blows your mind, it baffles you a little bit, sometimes people have that, they get this power sometimes and they get completely crazy because of that. So the same with opportunities. If this is the feeling that you get or the person gets when he receives that opportunity, then this will bring to a bad consequences, most probably. This is the criteria, one of the criteria. But if something comes by its own accord to a person, naturally, sattvically, if you know what I'm saying, yeah, you feel like, yes, it's naturally came into my life, and I'm not baffled, I'm not super overly excited by it. It just came to me, that sometimes we get these kind of opportunities. So this means that it is nice. It will be there. Yes. Probably. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we just didn't get to that yet because we're a little bit limited with time. But yeah, coming to this aspect of our karma, we have this last bit, so I'll maybe take 1 or 2 more minutes from you. This akarma. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, one who is engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Work done as sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain unattached and free from bondage. So this is coming to this mood idea, right? Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So we can do many things in life. We can go to work, we can, raise children, we can do whatever. And if we're doing this as an offering to Krishna, we don't get any karmic reactions from that. So this is what Krishna tells us. And then there's a nice saying, and maybe I'll finish with that. When bhakti enters food, it becomes prasad. When bhakti enters hunger, it becomes a fast. When bhakti enters water, it becomes charanamrita. When bhakti enters travel, it becomes a pilgrimage. When bhakti enters music, it becomes kirtan. When bhakti enters a house, it becomes a temple. And when bhakti enters actions, it becomes service. So this is the way of a karma. Everything becomes service. So one who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. So lotus leaf lives or grows in the murky water, It's not very pure. But he still, because of the composition of its leaves. Um, yeah, it's waxy coating. It has specific coating. Whatever is falling on that leaf, it naturally goes down, you know. So that's the quality of the mindset of a devotee. When he does something within this world, material world, the murky waters of this material world, they don't touch him. They don't touch his mind. They just fall off, you know, because he has this a karmic mood. He wants to satisfy Krishna. He does it not for himself, but for the pleasure of the Lord. Yes, big topic. So many things to say. Yes. Maybe one more last question if anyone has. No, we don't have time for this. So we have to finish. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Damodar Svarup Prabhu, for speaking on topic karma. And maybe just an announcement. There are, if you want to get to know about these topics, courses, educational courses are given, and the Lokapavani Mataji will.
Just take 1 more minute of your time. So Damodar Svarup was talking about some topics from the Bhagavad Gita. As you can see, this is a very big book, sometimes very frightening for people. So we have a Gita Live course, which is a course to show you how you can live your life in accordance to the things that are written in the Bhagavad Gita, how to make it applicable in your life. So if you would like to know the keys for how to read it in a simple way and how to apply it in your life, then please join us in this course, which will start on 16th of October. So you still have time to think about it. You can visit our webpage, College for Vedic Studies, and also learn a little bit what we're going to talk about. And for those who are maybe interested in Tulasi Devi, so we have another course which is called Glories of Tulasi Devi. So it's a sacred tree that devotees worship. It's considered to be a pure devotee of the Lord. So we will talk about her glories, and we will also show you how you can actually have your own Tulasi at home, how you can grow her, take care of her, and also how to perform arati. So please join us